purchasing a property or a partial interest in property. So let's say a sibling group, 3 siblings inherit it. It still has a loan against it, right? One sibling generally steps up and pays the loan while they figure out what to do with the property. And then you generally have one sibling who isn't interested in paying the loan, but wants to live in the property for free because that's where they were living when the parent passed away, right? So they're basically squatting in the property and like, why
Yep.
do I want to sell? And the other siblings, one of them's paying the loan. Like, well, I'm paying the loan. You're not paying rent. In that scenario, what does it look like to, and I've had investors do this, but from a title perspective or a closing perspective, what does it look like for an investor to buy, say, 2/3 of an interest in the property? So you buy out 2 of the 3 siblings.
2/3. That's a lot compared to
What?
what I've dealt with.
Oh,
So
really? You might only do 1 or 1/3 or 1/6 or whatever, but
way
yeah.
less than that. So I have a client who is
Uh,
a nonprofit that does some assemblages in like blighted areas and does like
mhm.
community redevelopment. And as you could imagine, those titles are, I mean, it was owned by the great grandfather who died in the early 1960s. And now we're already down to like his great grandkids who were spread all across the United States. And so we identified about a 2% interest in the property through some of the heirs that lived in Illinois. And we could ensure that, right, as to the 2% interest in not all of the parcels, but enough of them for it to make sense for the client. And they acquire it, and then of course they begin their lawsuit, right? Either some sort of quiet title action or a division or whatever your
Mhm.
jurisdiction calls it. Again, I don't go to court to do these things, but they have their attorneys that handle that side, but I handle the title side. And I mean, yeah, it's ugly when you're dealing with like great grandkids, right? You don't
Mhm.
even know who they all are anymore, but you just keep running that tree down until you can identify someone. Then once you have like a titled interest in the property, then of course, just like with a partnership, right? The law can't force you to be in business with someone. The law can't force you to own property with someone. So you walk into court and you say, divvy us up. And oh, by the way, I've got cash to buy out the rest of them, right? We just need to agree on a price. So yeah, that's definitely something that I deal with. Again, to buy 2/3 would be an awful lot compared to what I'm generally seeing. But yeah, I mean, if investors want to go that route, that's certainly something that you do. And then you're right, you treat generally it's a brother. I don't know why. You treat him like the squatter he is, and you begin like eviction proceedings, right?
Mhm.